With the fourth and final season of The Good Place fast approaching, fans are excited to see what happens to Jason, Tahani, Chidi, and Eleanor as they attempt to get into the real good place. Well, here's what we know about the upcoming season so far. Spoilers ahead. The Good Place might seem like a typical network comedy, but it shirks convention in several important ways. For one thing, all of its main characters are dead, except for a brief time when they weren't. Forgive us for stating the obvious.
You basic.
Thanks to its penchant for philosophy, complex plot points, and strong performances, the series also brings a distinct sense of prestige TV to a network comedy. Well, maybe not all the time.
This place truly is paradise.
Also, a typical season of The Good Place runs much shorter than your average TV show. There are fewer than 15 episodes per season, whereas most sitcoms feature 22 to 24 episodes per season. Here's some good news for you. The final season of The Good Place will reportedly consist of 14 episodes, making it the longest season in the show's history. What's more, series creator Mike Schur has announced that the finale will run for a full hour. As great as that is, it still signals the end of a beloved show.
Really sucks.
In June 2019, Schur took to Twitter to announce the show was ending, writing, "At times over the past few years, we've been tempted to go beyond 4 seasons, but mostly because making this show is a rare, creatively fulfilling joy." That's right, the decision to end the show came from the creative team rather than NBC brass. As Schur tweeted, "Given the ideas we wanted to explore and the pace at which we wanted to present those ideas, I began to feel like 4 seasons, just over 50 episodes, was the right lifespan."
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
On the upside, at least the talented folks behind The Good Place get to end the show on their own terms. If you need a quick brush up seasons past, you've come to the right place. The Good Place covers a lot of ground from episode to episode, and it's a truly unpredictable show. If you don't believe us, just look at all these magical shrimp from the first episode. The show gets off to a running start by introducing us to Eleanor Shellstrop, portrayed by Kristen Bell. And what a way to do it. Shortly after she meets Michael, played by Ted Danson, she's informed that she's full-on dead and has been granted a spot in the good place instead of the bad place.
Cool. I have some questions.
Thought you might.
Here's another twist, the first of many. Eleanor was a total dirtbag during her time on Earth, and she doesn't actually belong in the good place. If you haven't seen the show, run away right now, because spoiler alert, Eleanor isn't even in the good place.
Oh man!
It's true. At the end of the first season, Eleanor and her cohorts find out they're actually in a bad place that was specifically designed to torture them. Eventually, the humans team up with Michael to work against the many demons of the bad place. Upon discovering that nobody has actually been admitted to the good place in recent memory, the gang decides to reboot their memories with Michael's help. That way, they can work on improving themselves in the afterlife. It's a last-ditch attempt to earn spots in the real good place. Confused? Get used to it.
You know what, Michael? You basic.
Eleanor starts to suspect she's been put in the good place by mistake, and subsequently embarks on a mission to become a better person. And she's in luck, because one of her companions is Chidi, a professor of ethics and moral philosophy. Once she explains her dilemma, he reluctantly agrees to teach her how to become a better person.
I'm getting a stomachache. I'm in a perfect utopia, and I have a stomachache.
There's a whole lot of philosophy in The Good Place, a show that references everyone from Kant to Kierkegaard, yet it somehow remains utterly hilarious while doing so. As the New York Times notes, the most refreshing thing about The Good Place in an era of artistic bleakness is its optimism about human nature. It's made humane and side-splittingly entertaining television out of the notion that people, and even the occasional immortal demon, are redeemable. Thanks to its endlessly inventive and hilarious premise, The Good Place earned excellent reviews right out of the gate, and that sinister yet silly twist at the end of the first season really made people pay attention. Pulitzer Prize-winning critic Emily Nussbaum wrote, "What we got was the rare season finale that could legitimately be described as a game-changer, vaulting the show from a daffy screwball comedy to something darker, much stranger, and uncomfortably appropriate for our apocalyptic era." Speaking of high praise, in 2019, Kristen Bell was nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Performance by an Actress in a Television Series, Musical, or Comedy. But alas, she ultimately lost to Rachel Brosnahan, the star of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Oh, you gotta be forking kidding me.
Nevertheless, The Good Place won a prestigious Peabody Award in April 2019, and it secured its first ever nomination for Outstanding Comedy Series at the 2019 Emmys. On the whole, that's none too shabby. After Mike Schur's success with The Office and Parks and Recreation, it's not surprising that NBC wanted to work with him again. When he pitched the show that eventually became The Good Place, the network was instantly sold on the idea. In fact, NBC execs committed to a 13-episode season before a single episode had been produced. Prior to its premiere in 2016, the show was shrouded in secrecy, but Schur did make it known that he loosely modeled the show on ABC's massive hit Lost. In fact, Damon Lindelof, the executive producer of Lost and The Leftovers, worked with Schur to come up with The Good Place's central concept. Schur wanted to create a show that tied together philosophy, religion, comedy, and the afterlife. It's a lot to wrap one's head around, isn't it?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to process a tremendous amount of insane information.
Nevertheless, Schur succeeded in creating one of the most unique shows to ever air on network TV. So, at the end of Season 1, we learn that The Good Place is an experiment created by Michael to torment the poor souls who wound up there.
You thought we would torture each other. And we did, for a little. But we also took care of each other.
It sounds like the final season will continue to explore this conceit, with some fresh faces thrown into the mix. Mike Schur told The Hollywood Reporter, "They're going to repeat this grand experiment and see what happens when it's new people. Their wager is that any group of people, if given a certain amount of love, support, empathy, and help, can become better. That essentially no one is beyond rehabilitation." Meanwhile, William Jackson Harper, the actor who plays Chidi, told TV Insider, "We're starting in a very different place where the six of us are not all on the same page at all, so it leads to some really interesting dynamics. And I think it'll be a really interesting watch, but that's about all I can say." The Good Place doesn't have a huge cast, but two notable names have been attached to the show from the beginning: Kristen Bell and Ted Danson. Danson, of course, is a comedy legend, best known for his work as Sam Malone on Cheers. Since his sitcom heyday, he's appeared in shows like Bored to Death, CSI, and Curb Your Enthusiasm. As for Belle, she played the titular teenage detective on Veronica Mars, and then went on to appear in films including Forgetting Sarah Marshall, The Boss, and Couples Retreat, to name just a few. Of course, Belle has since reprised her role as Veronica Mars in both a feature film and a Hulu revival of the series. It's not a stretch to say that The Good Place boasts one of the most talented casts on network television, and several of them were relatively unknowns when the series began. William Jackson Harper was cast early on, followed by British television presenter Jamila Jamil in her first acting role. Then there's Manny Jacinto, another newcomer. The final piece of the puzzle is Darcy Carden, the brilliant comedic actress who plays the role of Janet. She's sort of like the Afterlife's answer to Siri.
I mean, it does matter if I know things because I'm an informational delivery system, and I don't have a heart. But thanks.
Over the course of 3 seasons, The Good Place has continued to expand its supporting cast. Notable additions include Mark Evan Jackson, who plays a bad place bureaucrat named Sean. Then there's Saturday Night Live standout Maya Rudolph, who plays an all-powerful and exceptionally batty judge. That's to say nothing of Kirby Howell-Baptiste, the British actress who plays Simone. She's a neuroscientist who strikes up a relationship with Chidi when the group finds themselves back on Earth.
Well, what we do is we make a lengthy incision from your eyebrows to the nape of your neck and we peel your face back, right? Then slice your skull open.
According to Schur, there will be some exciting new additions to the cast in Season 4. In an interview with TV Line, he said that the final season will focus on a full reboot of the main gang's memories in the afterlife. Each of them will be confronted by someone who is specifically engineered to torture them. Tahani and Chidi's torturers were revealed in the 3rd season, but Eleanor and Jason's worst nightmares are still unknown to us, and them. As Schur puts it, the idea was that the bad place chose the people they chose to specifically kind of smart bomb our original crew. They're just people whose personalities are specifically designed to ruin the lives of one individual, so we really spent a lot of time trying to figure out what that would mean for the final 2 residents. Schur didn't reveal any specifics beyond that, but bringing these tormentors to life will almost certainly add some memorable players to an already excellent cast. Clearly, The Good Place has made a name for itself as one of the most life-affirming shows on television. No small feat for a show about a bunch of dead people. Well, it sounds like the final season is going to pack an emotional punch. The creative team is keeping major plot details under wraps, but actor Manny Jacinto did hint at a touching final season, telling E! Online, "I think it'll really hit the heartstrings. I mean, last season's finale was definitely kind of hitting people in the feels, but I think this season we've kind of headed in that kind of sort of direction." Meanwhile, Mike Schur has promised not to end the final season on a cliffhanger. We bet that he's cooked up a solid and satisfying ending to this unusually complex show. Ah, the mystery of Michael. The character is played to perfection by Ted Danson, who manages to always be incredibly charming and charismatic, even when he's indulging his most diabolical impulses.
Okay. They're at each other's throats already. This should put them over the top. And you play Bart, a former private eye.
Even though Michael is a demon with access to all the knowledge in the universe, audiences still don't know a whole lot about him. He's made several references to his advanced age and the fact that he's merely inhabiting a human body. But how does that work exactly? Mike Schur has all but confirmed that audiences will soon find out, telling Rolling Stone, "You will learn a lot more about Michael's corporeal form in the 4th episode of this season. And that's not the only revelation they have in store for us. As you've no doubt noticed, the concept of soulmates runs through the entire show."
You all look so beautiful tonight with your regular-sized pockets, regular-sized soulmates.
Well, you can reportedly expect the idea of soulmates to be further explored and developed in the final season. In Season 2, fans only saw brief flashes of the reboots Michael orchestrated in order to trick Eleanor, Chidi, Tahani, and Jason. According to Mike Schur, some of these reboots will be explored further in the final season. Speaking to Vanity Fair, he said, "There's a lot of stuff that happens this year where we sort of revisit the different versions of Michael that have existed over the time of the show, starting with the demon version and going through the middle versions, and going through the end versions." And that brings us to the biggest question. How will The Good Place ultimately conclude? Kristen Bell seems to know something, but she's keeping her cards close to her chest. Conan O'Brien asked whether she knows how the show ends, and she responded,
"I forgot. I legit forgot."
Did you really?
Yeah.
So he told you where it's going and you forgot?
Correct.
Well, we'll be getting some answers soon enough. Season 4 of The Good Place premieres on Thursday, September 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite films are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.